Alright, as I explained on the phone, the changes I made yesterday to this eastern wall had an impact that sadly I didn't account for when I did it, although I'm not sure it mattered. I didn't feel there was much of an alternative but to make this door work out correctly. So, and I explained this on the phone to you, one of you, um, and that is that we're going to have a beam up on the second floor under this wall here. It comes through, this is the first floor shown through, and it comes through to the first floor. There's the beam. Where is it? And here it is here as we face the refrigerator. It's right here, supporting this roof up here and this exterior wall. Not much of the floor, but those two. And has to, here's this beam, beam A, and there it is, holding up that wall, and down to the first floor. And so that's up, buried up in the kitchen ceiling, but at this point here it needs to have some sort of support. There you see it, and that's where it was before, which was nice because that came right down in the center of this existing foundation wall in the basement. Now that we've gone to this arrangement here where this wall is pushed back, that bearing point has to go further east as well. And you can see, so down in the basement, that brings it back here. That leaves us three alternatives really. And the load is not that much at that end, so presumably we can add some sort of crow into this crawl space or cut that piece and add a footing and a pier underneath it. I don't like that this is that its bearing is divided on these two. We'll probably have to have a steel plate bridging these two walls, but this is easily enough done, so this is not the end of the world to do this here. And so upstairs then would be okay like that. Alternatively to that, we get rid of that pier and shift that bearing point back west, and that winds up here. And so I'm going to stop for a second and explain the alternatives. The first alternative would have been if these doors were more narrower, this wall could have come back west without encroaching on this casing. But since these doors are a relocated door, that's really not an option if we want to reuse those doors from wherever they are here, I guess. And then the second alternative is, as I showed, with the pier down there. And then the third alternative, so there's really only two alternatives. This one, which preserves the second floor, or first floor like it is, or shifting things around so that we can have that bearing point here coming down through the foundation in the basement and adding a section of wall there to carry that. The impacts are at the width of this doorway and the width of this cabinetry here, as well as visually having a section of wall here. Now it's kind of cool because this could carry a piece of art as well as some switching for the kitchen if we wanted some switches there, which it seems like we probably will. So I'm just going to show you what this is inside then. This would be having that bearing point here coming straight down on the foundation, not having to get involved in any foundation work down here at all. Just having that wall there. And here are the results then of either doing the pier in the basement or doing the stub wall in the kitchen. This is with the stub wall in the kitchen, and this is without it. With it and without. And I got to tell you, when I got to the end, I wasn't really sure which way to go. I liked them both. This is kind of a big clunky, a lot of cabinetry right in the corner. Maybe this is better. but I think you guys will have a better feel for what you think would appeal to you. If we go from the office view, it goes from this, the current plan, to something like this. Further back in the office, or transition, it goes from, it would be this or back to the original. When we swing around the kitchen, this is from the other side, coming in from the dining room through the old pantry. This is what we had been working with, and this is the alternative. You can see the door gets more narrow. I'm pleased that I don't dislike either of them really, but I can't tell. I almost prefer this one, but you will be able to tell me which you prefer. I like that it brings some color into that corner depending on what your walls are. And from out here, there's not much of a change discernible. So it's either this one with the work in the basement in that crawl space, or it's this one. And that's really about it. Hopefully that wasn't too quick or confused.